What it do, kings and queens of the internet? You've
that
got a hatless Shady coming at you live tonight. You've got RJ over there with some new jazz on his desk. How are you doing tonight, my brother?
I'm doing great. I had a wonderful couple days with my family, my wife and my daughter.
Fantastic.
So I'm very happy. How are you doing, Shady?
I'm doing great on this Friday, June 11th. I'm prepping for a wedding. I got a wedding going on later this afternoon. You know, I bought a new car. Like I said last time, I went golfing this weekend. It's just a big week of new shit is really what's going on in Shady's life. I mean, you know, same old Shady, same old sunglasses. That's what's really important. But other than that, life is just, she is a changing. But I'm feeling it tonight. I hope you're feeling it tonight. I'm ready to get into some sports. So what do you got? What do you got for the folks on some hot shit?
I'm into it. Let's get started. I'm going to start out with giving congratulations to the Oklahoma Sooners softball program. They won the college softball championship. You know, some of you are like, oh, okay, cool,
Sooners.
Whatever. Like, no, that was dope. Like, I don't know if you watched the whole tournament.
Hell yeah, it was.
There was a lot of great games, a lot of good players, and I would watch professional softball. Like, you're talking about all these sports that, like, wrestling, right? Like, there's not a real professional wrestling. Swimming, like, shit, I like watching swimming, too. Like, Olympics is dope. Like, I wouldn't mind watching that stuff. Softball is 100%.
Phelps? Fuck yeah.
For real. 100% I would watch professional softball. There's so much energy, and the plays happen quicker. It is faster paced, usually, than baseball. It was just really nice, and the chants, and like they make some awesome catches, and their fences are a little shorter, so you see a lot of like diving out of the ballpark type of catches, which is really cool. So congrats to them.
Hell yeah. No, I compare women's softball to women's tennis, where the game is just different enough in the way that it's played at a high level that you get to see all of these minute technicalities that women like really hone in on. Like, that's why the pitching style is different when you're watching a softball game over. In fact, you start to see more unique pitchers in the MLB start to almost try to represent it with the low sidearm throws because it throws the batters often. I don't know if you've ever tried to hit a high-pitched softball pitch from a high-level softball pitcher, but that shit's hard. Like, that is a nightmare. I'd rather take one from Jake DeGrom than I would a D1 softball thrower just because that ball is so hard to hit. So I love it, dude. I love watching him play.
Yeah, I agree, but let me put this in the universe. Like, Shady is very athletic, and he can play a lot of sports.
Sometimes.
I would pick him last on a baseball team.
I'm horrible at baseball. Not
he's
very good
very
at it.
bad. So
Golf and baseball, they were never my thing. Basketball all day, football tall enough with hands, soccer,
there you go.
But baseball, baseball, and
no way.
Not my jam.
Anyway, you mentioned one of them. I'll move on to it. Euro 2020 starts today. So the first game today is going to be very exciting. The team I've decided to root for is just a bandwagon. It's a freaking wagon, and I'm going to go with France. Because
you are on the bandwagon. I won't choose France in soccer. I won't choose France in World Wars. Sure as shit not picking them in basketball. Like, why are you going France, my man? You got to tell me why.
They have two of the best players in the world. They have Conte, who we talked about a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, I'll give you Conte. You know how I feel about him, but
Mbappe.
Mbappe.
Yeah,
you
so
pronounced that
19.
pretty well. I'm actually kind of surprised.
I did. Good, sweet. So in I think it was 2018, I believe, the World Cup. He went off. He was a 19-year-old. He went absolutely off. That was cool. Now he's a highly regarded player. People want him to go to the Champions League, and it's more of a money thing of who has his contract now. Anyways, he's super dope. I'm good to watch him. And then the other player who's interesting to watch is, and this one I'm going to butcher, Pogba, whatever. If you know soccer, you know who I'm talking about. Plays with France. He plays really good with Conte. Him and Conte are miraculous together. They're really good. They're fun to watch. I've watched a couple of their friendlies. But it's starting to. I believe their first game is Tuesday against Germany. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. You can look it up on any platform to find out when they play. It's going to be fun to watch. Who doesn't like Euro 2020, right?
No, 100% agreed. So international play, I'm usually an Argentina guy. Although I think
Okay.
they're playing like garbage ever since Messi came back. I'm pretty sure Maradona had to convince his ass to get off the bench after dropping that Copa match that I consistently bring up. I bring it up all the time.
You did.
Because it broke my heart and broke the heart of a bunch of Argentinians. But really, for the Euro, I think I'm going to have to go with Spain. Just
Okay.
because I know what Spain brings to the table year in and year out. And, dude, Spain or Germany is always a money choice. Like we were just talking about, you know how I feel about Conte. But as I've always said, persistently on this podcast, it is not a one-man game. And that's why I'm not going France with Conte. It's hard for me to talk about Portugal with Ronaldo. I think he's still on their international squad. I don't know if he defected, but I'm pretty sure he's still on Portugal.
He'll be on their team.
And so I just every football inch of me says that Spain or Germany's probably gonna win it just because they're so goddamn robotic in everything that they do. Both of those teams are just insanely robotic on the field, and robotic teams love to win championships. Just like the Spurs from the 2005 until like 2014.
Yeah, I was just going to say 15 and make it even 10. But what I like is going to be cool because France won the World Cup. So if they win this, it's called the double-double, winning both these. So that's pretty dope. My other team to watch for would be England. I like Mason Mount, and to be honest, I've been watching a lot of Peaky Blinders. So that's where that's
a good show. That's a good show.
It's a great show.
You love gangster shit about and you also love history. Peaky Blinders probably for you.
Definitely, but
if you love watching badasses wear berets, go watch you some Peaky Blinders.
For real. What's your hot shit, Shady? I would like to know what you got. What are you cooking up for me?
So mine isn't as crazy as yours is. Usually, RJ is giving you hot shit from the stars, and I'm bringing it back down here on Earth.
Yep.
My hot shit today, just in case anyone hasn't checked their phone in the sports world, the college football playoff. The committee is considering a proposal for expanding to a 12-team format. And I want to remind everybody, it wasn't until, 2013, 2014 that they even expanded to a playoff at all. It was all BCS, which is a voting system to dictate who was number one and who was, not. And I mean, even before that, the only real issues that you had was like the 97 year where you had Michigan Wolverines winning the championships over
Nebraska.
It was the Cornhuskers, yes, and both teams obviously claim the pennants in their home stadiums now, which I understand why people like the playoff. Right now, we have a 4-team playoff, but what do you think about it? What's your opinion? I'll share mine after yours.
No, I think it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, like, you had the Big Six, like the Cotton Bowl, the Orange Bowl. You had all these bowls before, which everyone kind of considered the playoffs. Like, if you made it there, you win that. That's great. Awesome. Like, that was kind of like you wanted to make that, which now they're doing the same thing, except they're calling the actual playoffs. I think it gives more reason to the actual Rose Bowl. Like, my favorite games are always the Rose Bowl. Like, the Rose Bowl is always so legit. The atmosphere is amazing.
Yep. Always.
I'd give anything to go to
Stanford
one of them.
Stanford versus MSU, bro. I'll never forget watching that shit on your couch, dude. Kyler Ellsworth went to our high school making that final 4th-and-1 tackle. That was one of the greatest sports moments of my life. Rose Bowl.
Chills again. I mean, that was dope. It was really dope. So that's what I feel. I feel like you're just making those games more important. But I don't feel like this is really news. Like, I don't know. I'll talk about it later, but go ahead. What's your take?
100,000% I'm with you. So I actually think, and this is an elevated take in itself because I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on what I'm saying here. I think it's perfect the way that it is. I don't think that leaving it up to voters is the right choice because, the one problem that the BCS playoff has run into over its just under a decade of experience here, is the Central Florida Knights going undefeated a couple years ago and being snubbed from the playoff. Yeah, no shit. You guys, you can tell us that can tell us that you were the national champion all you want, but you weren't. Anyone with eyes can see that you didn't have the talent to compete with anybody at the stage at that time,
Correct.
which was like the Clemsons, the Bamas. Like, there's just no way. So, if you want a 12-team playoff, get used to your 13-0 teams getting the shit kicked out of them.
Yep.
Because that's all that's going to happen.
Get used to your players not playing.
Yes.
Like, you think players sitting out, like, players are going to get hurt.
Exactly.
Like, you're not going to get the team that you had. So your 13-0, BS team from Ball State, 13-0, yeah, they're going to get in there, and their top guy, who's a first round draft pick, he's going to sit because he has no reason to play in those games.
Yep.
You're playing more meaningless games. You're adding more meaningless games. I'm all about football. Sweet. I'm going to watch it. I'm not saying I'm not going to watch it. I'm just saying you're not going to get the product that you think you're going to get.
Yep, I'm on a 13-0 team in the MAC. I go to Central Michigan, and I'm a potential first-round quarterback with a line ranked 160th in the nation. Do you think I'm going to play that game? No.
No.
And you guys are going to lose 65-0, but congratulations on making it in the 8th seed of the playoff. Like, that's exactly how it's going to go down. People want to vote with their hearts and make these decisions with what they feel and their spirit. Well, guess what? Spirit doesn't win championships, and I'm sick of hearing about it, okay? I agree that back in the day, like, the chance that there being two BCS teams that could potentially win the championship under the old idea of a championship is fairly high. Like, it is. Like, we saw it multiple times during the BCS reign before the playoff. But now there's 4 teams that get to play it out. You get stuff like the 2014 OSU Buckeyes. I hate talking about it on our podcast because you know how much I hate the Buckeyes, but that was straight up Cordell Patterson. That was one of my
Jones.
That was
Cardell
Jones. Yes, Cardell Jones, 3rd string quarterback. I don't know where he's at now. Absolutely nowhere. Probably selling hot dogs outside of Columbus.
He was on the Bills for a while.
Down on High Street. But I will tell you that was one of the greatest teams I'd ever seen because they beat a bunch of teams who thought that they weren't supposed to be there, and that was fantastic. Everybody loves that. They represented the Big Ten in the best possible way, and Urban Meyer literally burrowed his way into my mind as one of the best college football coaches of all time by pulling that off. So we have a format that will allow us to see shit like that. Why ruin it by not only expanding the field, but by multiplying it by 3 times what it's currently at? Why? Like, why? What are you gonna, like I said, like you said, it's too much. It's too much. But I'll move on. We've already talked about this way too long because it's a pretty hotly debated topic right now. So I'll move on to another collegiate conversation where I just can't believe the conversation's even being had. And it actually goes a little deeper than just what the NCAA is trying to do and much more about what another organization is trying to do that literally nobody has control over, and this will be an interesting conversation to spark. Navy has denied a Tampa Bay Buccaneers rookie request to delay his service in a time where we are not engaged in any international war to actually give time to the NFL. One of the craziest stories I've ever heard, and something that I can't believe I'm even saying out loud, but the U.S. Navy has denied Cameron Kinley's request to go and play in the NFL because he has service to do. What do you think about that?
So I'm just going to say my opinion is probably different than yours. He enlisted, right? I mean, he could have went to any school he wanted to. He could have, I mean, I don't know what his offers were, but he could have played football anywhere, and if he was good enough, he would have made it to the NFL, right? I think it's interesting because, I mean, he ultimately, whether he was 18 or 19, 17, whatever, made a decision to enlist. And he knew going into the draft that this was not a guaranteed, I'll get to play. Like, this was a possibility. And I do know Navy, obviously they haven't had a lot of people get drafted, but they have blocked people in the past. So did I see it coming? Not necessarily. But am I going to throw a fit about it? Now, what you said about, like, we're not actively in a war and stuff like that, I completely agree. I would have thought they would have approved him. The fact they didn't tells me, I mean, I don't know how many years, I don't know how it works. So when he's at that college, does it count as years of service? Because usually they get 3 years, or is it like you enlist for 3 to 6 years? So like I don't know if that counted as part of his time, or does his time start then, like now, today? That'd be interesting. I'm not expecting you to have the answer, but that's just something.
So, how can someone sit over there on the other side of this international table that we have established here today, telling me that the NFL draft has to be open for people to be able to make their own decisions, when a 22 to 23-year-old man is sitting here and not able to make his own decisions because of an organization? That's what doesn't. When you're 17 years old, maybe he didn't get their offers. I don't know. I haven't researched it either, but maybe he didn't get the offers from other universities where he thought he could shine, or maybe his play style fits best in the Navy play style, which is unique to others in the international scope. So maybe this was his dream all along, and Navy gave him the best opportunity to do that, and he was brave enough to say, hey, if it doesn't work out with football, I'm going to be able to at least represent my country with all of my heart and soul and go for it. Well, guess what? It worked out better on the other path, and now he's not able to take it. And what frustrates me about this is the Navy in particular. John Radigan from West Point got drafted by the Seahawks. He's fine to play. Nolan Laufenberg from the Air Force got drafted by the Broncos. He's fine to play. George Silvonic, Air Force, same. Got drafted by the Rams. He's fine to play. Parker Ferguson, also drafted by the Air Force. Got drafted by the Jets. He's fine to play. So what is it about the U.S. Navy where they're just saying, nope, you made a commitment, and that's all she wrote, where the other U.S. Armed Services are saying, nah, you're right. This is a better opportunity for you. We're not in a time of war. Go for it.
That's odd. So I'm guessing he probably didn't sign his contract yet. I wonder if he can go back to the draft or go back to college and still play. Because if he doesn't sign, he hasn't made it official. Because I know in college, basketball, you can get drafted and then elect to go back as long as you don't sign a contract. I would assume it'd be the same for football, but I'm not sure. I just think you're right. I didn't think that I didn't know that other players would got through and he didn't. It's very odd, and you would think that like they could buy out his contract from the Navy. It's just that is a very odd story. I do think he did make a decision to go to Navy, so he knew this was a possibility. So whether he expected them to do it or not, so like I'm not completely like, oh, this is like we need to get a lawyer for him or something like that. No, it sucks, but like you ultimately made this decision. You have to not necessarily pay the consequences, but you have to walk it out. But he also has his contract working for the Tampa Bay. They hold his rights, so I don't know what happens. Will they get rid of his rights, or whenever he's done with his service, will he automatically go to them? It's an interesting story.
The thing about it is he's currently in a position, because this is how late round drafting works, that you are only given an opportunity to battle for a draft spot.
Yeah.
And now he's not even given the opportunity to battle for it, so they're just going to let his shit go. And I don't know if he can enter the draft again, frankly. I'm not a NFL draft, nor am I a general manager, or have any sort of insight into this process. But I do know that the windows for that are slim, and if the athletic pool is better coming out of college next year, he might not get another chance. So it blows my mind, frankly, that people aren't raising more hell about this. That's what gets me about it. Like, I get you have to serve your country, but the only thing that the Navy could possibly be defending us against right now is China. And this is just because of some information that I have about their military deployment, like, situation, where from a nautical perspective, China is leagues ahead of everybody in the entire world. Like, whenever you try to track a submarine or a ship in Chinese waters, they'll just randomly disappear on you. The best information that we have right now is that they've probably been able to devise some sort of underground tunneling system to alleviate their ability to be tracked via sonar. But from a nautical perspective, our biggest threat is certainly China, and that's the only reason that they would be keeping high potential individuals within their organization for that. But what the fuck? One guy who's better at playing football than being a Navy specialist? Like, why?
It could also just be like one. He dicked over one coach or like missed one meeting, and the coach was just like, "Nah, you're staying, bro."
And that's even a bigger.
That could
problem,
be it,
right? That's even a way bigger problem.
No, I agree, but I don't know. We're not going to solve anything here, so I think we just go to the elevated takes. Because,
all right, well, maybe you can solve something with your elevated take, bro. You gonna take off tonight?
I'm just gonna hover in the atmosphere because it's not a wild take. It's not a wild take, but it's a pretty quick take too. So I ain't really stressed about time. I'm not worried about a timer. Just let me go.
Man, that's the first time in a few weeks where you haven't been stressed about time.
It's a pretty easy one, I think. So
all right, well,
I'm ready.
Then
when
you should probably dance all over it in 3, 2, 1. Do your jig.
The Brooklyn Nets are going to win the NBA championship. And that's not my elevated take. I think that's just that's probably the favorite. It is the favorite. So I'm not going to say that. What I do want to say is the Brooklyn Nets Big Three is the best Big Three ever assembled. So you have James Harden. I'm not going to cover a lot of time on James Harden because I've already given an elevated take on James Harden. And then, after that elevated take on James Harden, I've watched more basketball. And you know who's actually been alive? Kevin Durant. So this Kevin Durant guy, if you haven't heard of him, he's pretty damn good. I'd say right now he's probably the best player in the world. I know I had my James Harden take. Listen, Kevin Durant, he's unstoppable. And I know last night they lost to the Bucks. They played the Bucks. Whatever. You can drop one game. They've been killing the Bucks every other game. Then you have Kyrie, who is the only liability on that team. And you know why he's a liability? Because he is scramble-brained off the court, and he's very easy to be manipulated mentally. At least it appears so. Like, I don't know this guy, right? But it appears other players can manipulate him mentally. But he has the best handles in the league. So let me break it down a little bit, okay? Out of like a single team in a single season, the best Big Three I can put them up against would probably be, I don't know, Kobe, Shaq, and then whoever was the next on that guy. Like, I think they'd easily kill LeBron, D-Wade, and Chris Bosh. Like, I think these three would do that. So then I'm going to go ahead and change it to like the best players of all time. So I'm going to give you a list. Okay, you got MJ, Kobe, Bill Russell, Shaq, and then I'll throw in there LeBron. Pick any three of those combinations, I think they can hang. And I'm not saying that they can win all of those combinations because MJ's a killer, and Kobe automatically just cancels out Kyrie Irving because he's just going to... Kyrie Irving would be so messed up as soon as Kobe... Before Kyrie can even dribble the ball, Kobe would have him defeated mentally, without a doubt. He's one of the best trash talkers in the game. But those are top 5 players of all time. I'm not saying they're my top 5, but they're highly considered top 5 players of all time. I think these Brooklyn Nets, their Big Three, could go toe-to-toe against them. There we go. Shady, what you got?
I think that's one of the dumbest takes you've ever given.
Oh my God! Seriously?
Just to be frank, I think it's one of the silliest takes you've ever given me.
Why? Who? Where?
Who on this Brooklyn team plays defense in their superstars?
KD can play defense. He's decent at defense. He's not great. Shaq would obliterate them. Having Shaq on any of their teams, he would just back them. Like,
so the team that you just compared against Kobe, Shaq, and Robert Horry, who has 11 damn near, I think it's like 9. Let me see how many championships Robert Horry has, but I think it's like 7 to 9 championships, and he tossed our Pistons when he needed to. Definitely. You really think that they're going to beat that team? And that's not even the first one that comes to mind, by the way. The first one that comes to mind, 1988 Los Angeles Lakers, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy, They beat the Pistons before the Pistons went back-to-back. And do you know who won the MVP of that championship that year?
Who?
James Worthy. The worst of the three.
The worst. Well,
who's arguably one of my second favorite player of all time behind Larry Bird. You really think
gonna have to disagree?
The three guys, one can dribble good, one is tall, and the other one has the greatest beard the league has ever seen. You think they're the best big three of all time without winning one championship?
Well, I think they're about to win a championship right here, and they might be winning two if they can stay
Maybe
together.
they just lost to the Bucks and couldn't score 90 points.
They just okay. The Bucks, I think, only scored like 90 something. Like it wasn't that crazy of a game, and they obliterated the Bucks the other two. This was their game off. This was by far their game off. I think they're really good. I don't think anyone else, any other combination of players in the league right now, like team, can handle these three. I think with their prolific scoring behind the arc, plus they all can dribble and drive. All it takes is one of them to drive into the paint and kick out to someone else. There's a bucket. I think once they get the ball in a and one, 20 best of 21 type of game, I don't think they're giving it up.
Robert Horry had 7 championships, by the way, so correction.
Okay.
Because obviously Russell's the only one with 11. But,
yeah.
Dude, I wouldn't take this team over the 03-04 Pistons. I wouldn't take them
team.
over... I wouldn't take them over the Spurs, whose big three was Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and Tim Duncan. I don't know if I take them over 2013's Heat. They don't play defense. They don't play defense. D-Wade played defense. LeBron that year played defense. They don't play defense.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Defense is not their strong suit. I'm saying they just need one stop, and then they win.
So how are they the best big three of all time when they don't play 50% of the game? One of the best things that a hockey player ever told me when I told him I knew how to skate, but I didn't know how to stop was, oh, you know how to skate, but you don't know how to do 50% of it? That's what this big three is. Yeah, they're great
Kyrie
on offense, but they don't know how to do 50% of it.
Kyrie is really good at defense. He gets a lot of steals.
He's decent at defense, but he's too small. Just being good at Allen Iverson was good at steals, and no one looks at AI as one of the greatest defenders of all time.
I'm not saying they're the greatest of all time. I'll give you James Harden is not a defensive player. He's just not. KD is a good defensive player, and Kyrie is a good. I will not say any of them are great. They are good defensive players, which will get them a couple of stops against great, all-time players. That's all I'm saying.
He has a defensive rating of 114 this year, bro.
Who?
That's not even decent. Kyrie Irving. That's not...
Does it take all his games? I mean, because he missed a lot.
Yes, it takes all of his games.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He missed a lot of the season, so I'm not surprised.
Well, no, it's not. It doesn't add the zeros where he didn't play. All I'm saying is
I think you'd be surprised.
I think you're only looking at offense in this. In
the mythological 3-on-3 tournament, in my head, I have them winning. Easy.
That's just crazy to me. Have you thought about the other teams though? That's what I don't. I feel like you're just not thinking.
Now I didn't go back into the '80s to think about my teams, but I
How?
thought about the teams since 2000.
That's all time. Your take was all time, and you didn't go back into 30 years ago. You did. I understand not going back
because
to the 60s.
game is so different. Because the game is so different.
But even if it was the same rules as today, the '80s game was more similar to today than the '90s and the 2000s was. For sure.
I still think just the way they score, the way these guys can hit more threes, which get them more points than those other guys are playing inside
But threes also slows down the game, and it's also threes slow down the game if you're not jacking them up in transition. When you do jack them up in transition, they're less efficient. And other than that, they're not a very good transition. They're not a very good transition three. It usually takes like a Blake Griffin or somebody to actually get the transition going.
This is what we're going to do.
The person who I'm bringing to you are literally the best transition team of all time. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, James Worthy. You think that they will not beat this three?
Correct.
That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me.
This is what we're going to do. We're going to start our Twitch. We're going to do a Twitch. I will verse you in NBA 2K, whatever. We'll do the latest one. You'll get a team of 3, and I'll use these 3, and we'll see what happens.
I feel like I'm going to kick the shit out of you, RJ. You're not very good at video games.
Well, I guess these people... Oh, that's just a flat-out lie. I'm done with this, okay? It's a flat-out lie.
He's the first person I've ever seen play the Deadpool video game, and Deadpool's like, go to the vent over there! Go over there!
Damn, that game was a while ago.
Yeah, so y'all can tell. We're going to get the... I'm telling you, I'll kick the shit out of you with Magic, Worthy, and Kareem all day
I don't think
long.
so. I really don't. I'm actually like excited to do this because it would be fun. I think these guys, they're so good at scoring that I don't think it's really going to matter much.
Against one of the best defensive teams of all time, who also shut down some of the greatest offensive teams of all time, where the Brooklyn Nets this season have played one of the worst NBA seasons offensively ever.
I think we're going to see when we do our take, but I think we can both agree that they're probably going to win the championship. So your whole debate about them winning championships,
I'm on the Phoenix. I'm on the Phoenix Suns train. I think Chris Paul's finally going to get his chip. That's where
That'd be dope. So like I think the Brooklyn Nets are going to win it, but that would be pretty dope. Chris Paul deserves one. He does. That's a whole nother topic. Mm-hmm. But we
can agree on that after this very heated argument
there we go.
that we've had.
There we go.
Chris Paul definitely deserves a chip.
Let's move on. What is are you ready for your elevated take?
I am ready for my elevated take. Oh, God, I don't even know if I'm ready to talk about this because I care way more about what you said than I care about what I'm about to say.
Well, that really sucks. So go ahead. In 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Bo Schembechler? Fuck you. Screw you, man. One of the biggest arguments that you hear today, whether it be racism, bigotry, sexual assault, any of that, is, they were a victim of their era. Everybody was doing it. Why? What do you expect? Screw that. For centuries, we have understood what a good person was, what a terrible person was, what bringing people to do something against their will was. And Bo Schembechler, as it just came out, let me take it back a little bit. 2 former Michigan football players just said on Thursday that they believe they could have been spared from sexual assaults if their coach, Bo Schembechler, one of the greatest college football coaches of all time, would have said something to the organization. I'm sick of it. His son came out and said that there is zero chance that he didn't know what was going on in that organization. And it's not just Michigan, ladies and gentlemen. It's happening at all of your Division I schools that you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to send your kids to every single year. Michigan State and Larry Nassar just came over this. And obviously that was way more recent. But just because Bo Schembechler did it 30 years ago doesn't mean it's any less important and doesn't deserve any less attention than it's getting right now. Because for those kids who are finally getting some sort of redemption at MSU, Michigan's now got to deal with a bunch of adults who have been in society for the last 3 decades trying to deal with the trauma that they endured because one old-ass man wanted to win football games. Do you know how sick of this conversation I am? Why are we having this conversation anymore? I'm glad it came to light. I'm glad that the people who have dealt with this pain and trauma are finally getting their due. But when are we going to hold the executives at these universities that you are paying, mind you? It's no different than the police debate. Oh, they're public servants. We're paying them to do their jobs. Well, guess what? So are these people. So are the people that you are paying to send your kids to give them an education that isn't worth a goddamn shit, and they're being touched, and they're being assaulted, and they are being manipulated. When does it end? This Bo Schembechler thing hit me because he's one of the greatest football coaches of all time, better than Woody Hayes. I'll tell you that until the day that I die. OSU fans, come at me. But he was significantly a worse person, as it's coming out today. Everyone wants to talk about how Joe Paterno shouldn't have been destroyed for being one of the winningest football coaches of all time, winningest at the time of his retirement. But he knew that his trainer was sexually assaulting people on his team. Fuck him. If he had information that dealt with it, screw him. And I feel like that about Bo Schembechler. I don't know how much time I have, but I'm done with it.
Good.
And even accepting it at this day and age is enabling it at the universities today, and it needs to stop immediately, and I'm sick of it. I'm a Michigan fan. I've been a Michigan fan since I realized what it meant to be a Wolverine, and Bo Schembechler, one of the greatest coaches in their university, is a pig. And he needs to go down in history as a pig. If you enable it, then you are just as bad as the offender. I'm done.
Right.
RJ, what do you got to say?
So, let me lay out more specifics for you, and I'm going to try to stay calm and just like give you the facts, okay? So, Bo Schembechler has been said to know that there was sexual harassment going on.
His son said he knew.
Correct.
His son said he knew.
Is his son came out. Shady really talked about how the two players said what they said. His son said when he was, I'm citing this from ESPN, quote, I'm paraphrasing. When his son Matt was 10 years old, he needed a physical for Pee-wee football. He experienced, quote unquote, an anal probe, which is, I've had many physicals. That is not a part of a sports physical at all. He told his father. Who's his father again? Oh, Bo Schembechler, one of the winningest coach. Blah blah blah. Shady went over all that. Okay, what does Bo do? Shady, did you hear this part of the story? I don't know if you have, but what he does?
I have.
Yeah, Bo, closed fist, punches his son and says, "Don't you ever say anything about that again," and then got physical with his wife when she came to defend her son. What a piece of shit.
Exactly.
What a lousy piece of shit. You want to know how long this doctor, and so I don't want this doctor to go unrecognized, okay? His name is, I had it right here, Anderson. Okay, his last name is Anderson. I'm trying to find his first name. Robert Anderson, okay? How long was he at Michigan, right? It couldn't have been that long. Oh, no. From 1966 to 2003. That is insane. That is absolutely insane that you let that type of, I don't even know, abuse of power, illegal activities, taking advantage of young men go on for that long. And then one thing that even makes me more mad, and Shady, you kind of brought this up without even realizing it. Shady's hot shit today was about, oh man, the college playoffs is going to 12s. Yeah, that's a lead story. Well, this story came out today, and I couldn't find it anywhere on ESPN. So then I clicked on the college football page. It's the fourth story. 3 stories ahead of it, all about what Shady talked about earlier. How is this not the front line? Every newspaper, roughly 40 years of abuse going on, and it's not even a big news story. Is this a joke? His own son is saying this happened. His own son, why would he lie about that? And more people are coming out about it. I just don't know how even the media is kind of covering up for him. It's despicable.
Frankly, dude, negativity doesn't sell. Negativity doesn't. It was the same thing with Larry Nassar over at MSU. It's the exact same type of shit. Everyone wants to see the bright, and that's why and believe me, I know you have your own opinions, but I'm a BLM guy to the day that I die. I agree. I see racism every single day. I know what it, I've seen. I don't know what it's like because I don't experience it as a Caucasian, but I know that it's out there. I've experienced it. I've seen it. I believe Black Lives Matter because of the way that the situations have gone through. And so that's why the George Floyd story took off like it did, because there was a positive spin on it. Stories like this, there is no positive spin. There's nothing that these people can do to justify anything that's going on here. There is no light at the end of the tunnel other than all of the representatives who enabled it to resign because they never get their fucking due. They never go to jail like they're supposed to. In a justified society, which is what we all want to see, These people who just turned a blind eye to all of these people's lives literally being ruined by these people's actions and their negligence. It never happens. So that's why the media doesn't care about it, because they have their metrics and what they know is going to pop off,
sickening.
and this isn't one of them. It's disgusting.
Like, it's not
and that's
even
why
like...
That's why I wanted to bring it up, because, like, this is something that everybody needs to know about. And if your kids come to you and tell you something like this, screw football games, screw winning, screw going to the league, you do something about it. You say something about it, even as an athlete. You say something about it. You tell everybody. You buy a fucking microphone or a megaphone, and you go out in the campus, like anywhere that you can find a good place with a bunch of people, and you scream it at the top of your lungs, because no one should have to deal with this. Nobody should have to endure this pain.
No, and it's just really upsetting. Like, I feel myself getting physically upset. And so, like, I kind of just want to move on, because, like, honestly, like, nothing we say is going to change anything. And obviously legal things need to happen, but I just want the right thing to happen. And, like, the fact that it's probably not, it's just so sick. Like, I mean, like, it's sickening. That is the best word I can say for it. It's just awful. The media really, like, this is like, you can step up. You can do something. Hell, the head of Michigan, like the Michigan AD, the president of Michigan, do something to say, hey, well, we're going to lose all our titles from that time. Why not?
Exactly.
Why not? What are those banners really doing for you? Nothing.
Nothing but figures on a paper to recruit kids who don't care.
Yep. And what kid wants to be recruited to be sexually harassed?
Exactly.
Tell me that. Oh, but we're Michigan. We're Michigan men. Oh, is that really what you want a Michigan man to do? I don't know.
Exactly.
Whatever. I'm ready to move on to a segment or something, just because it's upsetting.
Yeah. At the end of the day, if you see something that's bad, or you see something that has been experienced by yourself that you think is bad, report it. Tell everybody that you can, and if they're ignoring you, then tell 10 more people. Because eventually somebody's going to know what's right, and that's how this shit has to end. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I'm an advocate of Black Lives Matter. I'm an advocate of putting away the people who, like Bo Schembechler, the trainer at Michigan that he enabled, Joe Paterno, the trainer at Penn State that he enabled, Larry Nassar at MSU. All of those people need to get out of this. Baylor, yes. Art, what's his face?
All I remember was Art, but yes. Yep. We're on the same page.
It's just, this shit needs to end, guys. Like, this needs to end. We're in a society where everyone can understand at this point that, hey, people who are different than me aren't bad. People who are from different countries aren't bad. People who are seriously traumatizing people, as we accept trauma as a concept in this country, are bad. And everybody needs to fight against that. So for the love of everything that you believe in, fight against it. So let's get to something a little lighter, RJ. Let's try not to be so brooding on every single one of our podcasts. How about some Mutter Your Clutter? I finally came up with a name for that segment we did a couple weeks ago. How about we mutter some of our clutter here on our little desks here? Talk about a little bit of us, since we've gone so far off the deep end.
I love it.
Tonight.
Let's just do one.
Okay.
I'll let you pick. You know what? I'll go first, and I'll pick one of my own. Okay.
Go for it.
This bad boy. Because it has to do with Shady a little bit. This has to do with Shady a little bit. Okay. So
that's a new piece on the RJ Shrine, huh?
This is what you call the big dick stick. Basically,
I've never.
I'll read it to you. Ready? Yeah, no, this is what it's called. The men's longest drive. 2018.
He did get the longest drive. He sure did get the longest drive. We
Second
watched.
annual Davis Cartage golf outing. Ladies and gentlemen, I did not cheat. I did not kick my ball.
No, he did not. I
whacked the hell. I smacked the piss out of it. And I hit it like 3-something, and it was great. I won it, and then, we go into the ceremony, I'm not expecting anything because you write your name on the little card. You don't expect it to stay. And then it came back. I'm like, sweet. Hey, I actually won that. Sweet. Well, they're like, oh, hold on. I grabbed that trophy. And they're like, oh, hold on. Stay up here. I'm like, oh, what else did I win? Well, Shady and I's foursome got dead last. So we got the donkey's ass trophy for being the worst
second
golfers.
time. RJ and I get last a lot. RJ and I get last a lot. We're not very good golfers. We love golf.
No, but we
good
have a
day
lot
on
of fun.
the course. We
People
do
have
a lot
fun
of
when they play with us.
We have a lot of fun.
So that's a little story about something that's on my desk. I'll take.
I
it on and
forgot
off
we got
'cause
the
it is kinda
donkey's
bulky.
ass in that tournament. To be honest.
Oh yeah, I got
totally
that trophy
forgot
around here
about
somewhere. I whatever trophy it is, I will always display it. I will.
Oh yeah. I got the what is it? The dirty sock trophy
Yes.
that we got from that one
Yes.
invitational, sitting in my laundry room right now. RJ and I did an invitational at a country club that I was at,
Yep.
and we were clearly
Did not
the
go well.
worst golfers there. There was a very competitive invitational. I wish somebody
It really
in the clubhouse
was.
would have told me that before that. Because we didn't really shoot all that bad, to be honest. I mean, considering, we
For
didn't
us-
really shoot all
for
that
us,
bad.
we played pretty freaking good.
And still got last ass place. And RJ sitting there, like when we got it, he's like, "Fuck, I can't take it."
Yeah, like
take
we had to go to this dinner afterwards, and like we just didn't want to go. And this
banquet.
is like a weekend of heavy drinking, so like we really didn't want to go. We just wanted to sleep and watch
Yep.
the Raptors. The Kawhi made that
Yes,
shot
it was
in
the
corner
Kawhi
on
year.
that
Yep.
on that weekend.
It was,
so that
yep.
was the Raptors were popping off. So yeah, we just wanted to go back, watch the Raptors versus whoever it was, and chill. But oh no. They had to bring us up there. We'll bring Shady up there and give him the worst golfer in the tournament award. Rough. Which I almost won. I only lost. I only beat him by a couple strokes. So that's not. I'm not acting like I'm
hold up
way
now.
better than him.
Hold up now. RJ is don't get this twisted, everybody on the podcast. RJ is a much better golfer than your boy is here, okay? I will tell you this right now. RJ actually cares about his golf game, while I do
Definitely.
not.
Definitely.
And I shoot probably just as much as him, but I do not. I have no golfing. Like we just said, I'm like Shady or not Shady. RJ said himself. I'm a pretty athletic guy. I'm good at sports. I'm good at most sports that I try my hand at. Golf, baseball, can't figure it out. It's
Nope.
just not for me. I don't. I can take 100 strokes, and I will not figure this game out. So I took it with pride. I came up, got the dirty sock, made a little speech. Everybody
Made a little
loved
speech.
it. So hey,
Yep.
you know what I mean? I was a little sauced up, but that's how you do.
You were supposed to bring it back to the next invitational, but you still have it. A couple
I
years
still
later.
have it. Yeah. No. Hey, shout out to everybody at the Owasso Country Club. Sorry about keeping your trophy. My bad. I just look at it with reverence, so I figured that you guys would figure something out.
Okay, I'll let you pick a piece of your clutter. Mutter your
right.
clutter.
I will
What do
mutter
you,
my clutter. Let's talk about this today. I don't think I've talked about this yet, have I?
Love it. Love it.
The Darth Maul pop here. Have I talked about Mr. Maul?
We have
here?
not. We have not.
So, I think I alluded to this the last time we did Mutter My Clutter. I'm a nerd. I love sports. Both RJ and I are pretty nerdy. We love nerdy
Yep.
shit. This is
We
just
do.
kind of how we do. We're a jack of all trades here. Obviously, not a jack in baseball and golf, like I have alluded to. Everybody has their downfalls. But this right here really represents how nerdy I am, because really, what I'm not only a nerd, but I love to go thrifting. I love to go to antique shops.
Okay.
I love to shop by different stores and whatnot and find little golden valuables. I think it's the equivalent of being a pirate in today's life, because you're not going to steal anything and get away with it because the law system's so effective. So you got to find little golden treasures wherever you can. You're never going to find a treasure map because treasure maps never existed. Whoever created that it's an absolute fallacy. Don't think the treasure maps ever existed, because pirates aren't that dumb. But when I was thrifting one day, I ended up stumbling upon this little piece. And this pop figure, for those of you who don't know, a pop figure is a very, monopolized type of way to
collectible.
project the way that you feel about anything today. They make a pop figure for damn near everything. Sports players, they'll make one about LeBron.
Yep.
They'll make one about anime characters, and this one's about Star Wars. I found this one with a certificate of authenticity at an antique shop. And it was signed by Ray Park, who, for those of you who don't know Star Wars Episode 1, Ray Park is actually the actor who acted out Darth Maul in that movie.
Pretty cool.
Being the cynic that I am, because anybody who knows me knows that I'm a cynic, I ended up sending an email before I bought this item out to Ray Park's team. I definitely wasn't Ray Park himself, but I found an email that he could be contacted with, and I sent him the certificate. I took a picture of it, came back a couple days later after I got a response, and Ray Park emailed me back, and he was like, yes, I definitely signed this. I could tell you where I signed it, and you should absolutely buy it at that price because it's worth about 3 times more. And I was like, holy shit, Ray Park. Like, you're number one super best guy. Like, thank you for reaching out to me. Sending an email like a double-sided lightsaber.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
sending it over to me. So now I clearly display it on my desk with pride because it's one of my favorite collectibles, and I am certainly a collectible guy. And yeah, so that's my little Ray Park signed Darth Maul with a certificate of authenticity that I had authenticized myself.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, you don't hear stories like that all that often. I didn't know that, so it's very fancy. One thing I will say, which I don't know is true, and you probably have more, I think they're called pops, than I do.
Yeah.
Have you heard that if you cut open their head, like where the brain is, there's actually like a toy, or like depending on what it is. So like if it's a Pokemon
I have
one,
not. No.
yeah. So like I don't want to make you do it because I don't know how much they cost or something. But I've seen many TikToks where you open it up and there's like a Pokemon keychain of like Charizard in a Charizard Funko Pop, or whatever. It could be whatever related. There's a small lightsaber figurine in that one. So obviously I would not cut open that one. But if you have a cheap one that you're thinking about throwing away,
That's very interesting. I've got a couple Gokus and Vegetas that I might just start chopping through, looking for some key blasts.
Let's not.
That's what it sounded like.
Let's not do Vegeta, please.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
enough.
you could definitely hit up Goku.
Okay, well I'm definitely going to do Vegeta first.
No,
for
come
obvious
on.
reasons.
The Prince of Saiyans. Come on. I don't. We'll do that. We'll do this later. He's. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't
Next mutter
yet.
your clutter. We'll
Yeah, I'll do
cover
Vegeta.
RJ's Vegeta.
And I'll get all my Vegeta. I'll get all my Dragon Ball Z stuff up here for that one.
For sure.
But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to be about it tonight.
That's mutter your clutter.
Like I always say, like and subscribe on the good old YouTube. Click the bell. Check us out on our Twitter at Elevated Takes, and then go to the website elevatedtakes.com. We have new exclusive merch coming very soon. Very soon, ladies and gentlemen.
Get up the merch.
Real merch coming out. So, with that, go ahead, Shady, close it out.
Like RJ said, like I always say, life is what it is right now. Everybody's dealing with their own stuff. I don't know if you got work. I don't know if you got bills. I don't know if you got child support payments. But hey, life kind of chips away at everybody. Like me right now. I got to deal with this pit stain. It's pretty gross. I'm on camera. I don't even know what to do about it. But sometimes you need somebody to talk to, and if you don't have anybody else to talk to, come to us. Because we love to talk to anybody about everything and anything. So go to the website, www.elevatedtakes.com. Go to the Contact Us page and submit a form, and we will be back to you in a zitch. Because like I said, we know what it feels like. We know what it feels like to not have anybody there, and we know what it feels like to actually get something out of anybody that actually makes it easier to live a little bit day. So go for it. Go to the website. Check it out. Make it through the day like we all want you to do. Keep on listening to the podcast. And like I always say, just because your take isn't elevated doesn't mean it's not important. Everybody, have a good all night.
Deuces.